Calcima is a playground for the transgressive, a genre where nothing is sacred, and everything is up for distortion. Among the most unsettling and provocative images in cult film is the baby, typically a symbol of innocence, purity, and promise, and influence in cult cinema is often anything but. Here, the baby becomes a distorted icon, shaking, mutating, grotesque, and terrifying. The infant is traditionally seen as the epitome of purity. In cult films, the image is inverted. Eraserhead in 1977 from the director David Lynch introduced one of the most haunting baby figures in film history, a grotesque, otherworldly creature that defies natural order. The baby is constantly sick, whimpering, and covered in bandage. Its very presence destabilizes any idea of domestic peace. It doesn't simply represent a child, it embodies dread, responsibility, and alienation. Calcima is an experiential test tube for culture, where diverse formation and collection of people experiment with what can work, what doesn't, and what shouldn't to give meaning to the world through a central multitude of cultural practices and consideration. In addition to its unsettling appearance, the baby in Eraserhead functions as an emotional parasite, eliciting revulsion rather than empathy. Scenes where the character Henry tries to care for the creature invoke a sense of suffocating obligation, reinforces the baby as a manifestation of anxiety over unwanted fatherhood. The film's monochrome industrial wasteland, combined with the infant's constant cries, creates a nightmarish environment where parenthood becomes a prison. Lynch's use of sound and surreal imagery transformed the baby into a symbol of existential terror, a physical embodiment of dread about commitment, progression, and absurdity of life itself. In this way, the baby in Eraserhead becomes a powerful emblem of corrupted purity, disrupting our most basic association with innocence and new life. The baby's vulnerability makes it an ideal figure for body horror. Laurie Kahn's Is Alive in 1974 features a mutant infant that slaughters those around it. The film plays with the grotesque contrast between the baby's helpless appearance and its uncontrollable violence. Its cries echo through the royal hospitals and quiet suburban homes, turning familiar environments into scenes of carnage. Sound is often positioned as a technically objective aspect of such production volumes. The sound is good, clear, intelligible, or the sound is bad, distorted, unintelligible. Hence, the need to consider bad sound in relation to badness in cult cinema. The film also subverts exploitation by contrasting parental instinct with horror.
I can't get family. I'm trying. I'm really trying very hard, right?
I can see that.
Wouldn't it be a great idea?
The mother initially expresses horror at her newborn, yet soon begins to protect it, despite its violent nature. The baby's rampage becomes entangled with questions of natural versus nature, and the viewer is left to wonder whether the creature is a product of biology, film society, or both. As the authority accepts to hunt it down, the story shifts into a reflection on there of the other, parental guilt, and the impossibility of controlling what we create. This transforms Is Alive from a simple monster movie into a deeper cultural critical wrapped into B-movie aesthetics. Ultimately, The monstrous baby stands as a visceral manifestation of body horror, its physical form and violent behavior highlighting our deepest anxiety about biological vulnerability and uncontrollable mutation. In many cult films, the baby doesn't symbolize unity or love. In Harold's Breakdown, Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby in 1968 offers a chilling example. Rosemary's pregnancy becomes a narrative of gaslighting, control, and ritualistic conspiracy. The baby she carries is not a child, but the spawn of Santa, conceived without her consent, and protected by everyone around her. The film turns maternity into a nightmare, and the traditional family unit into a cage. The family is one persistently privileged social grouping which can act to shape and organize the contingency of the child's early and continuing object relationships.
Wait a minute now. We happen to be in labor here.
In Rosemary's Baby, that privileged space is invaded and repurposed into something sinister. The baby becomes a threat not only to the protagonist but to the symbolic structure of the nuclear family. By turning the maternal figure into a vessel and the family unit into a sinister conspiracy, it challenges the notion of familial harmony and positions the baby as a force of total domestic disruption.
There wasn't enough room in Toyland to escape the terror that rocked baby's cradle.
What's the matter, sweetheart?
The Baby in 1973 from the director Ted Post presents perhaps the most bizarre use of the baby figure in cult cinema. It centers on a grown man infantilized by his controlling mother and sisters. His treatment as a baby becomes a critical of Arrest's development, gender roles, and maternal power. The film is deeply uncomfortable, not only for its premise, but for how it blurs boundaries between care, control, and exploitation. Bueller's female protagonists are both master and victim of the dance spaces in which they exist and their stylized self-presentations. The dual condition of mastery and victimhood also applies to the infantilized man in the baby, whose body is both pitied and pleased. Bueller rescues and elevates the details of a mass cultural erotics, making this element the privileged side of female spectatorial pressure and engagement rather than the spectacle of sexual display. Likewise, the figure of the baby is recoded from sentimental object to political spectacle. Another compelling example comes from Children of the Corn in 1984, where the children, especially the prophets, like Isaac, are perceptioned as literal inheritors of a corrupted future. Although not babies in a biological sense, they function simply within the narrative as avatars of world innocence and suppressed vengeance. The cult-like group of children eliminate adults and establish their own theocratic order, suggesting a radical breakdown of generational power and social structure. Much like the infant in the baby, these child figures symbolize an inversion of dependency. They are not nurtured by adults but instead dominate, judge, and even execute them. The fear they generate stems not from their physical power, but from what they represent, the fear of the social contract and the rise of an unrecognizable new order. These representations of corrupted youth reinforce the cow baby as a pretend social political metaphor, one that embodies both society's fears and its possible undoing. In conclusion, babies in calcima are not passive or secret, they are volatile symbols. From the screeching mutant in It's Alive to the satanic offspring of Rosemary's Baby, They destabilize genre, theme, and audience expectation. They embody the grotesque, the uncanny, and the unresolved tension of the world they create them.
Let's
In
get the hell
Cosima,
out of
the
here.
baby is not a symbol of hope, it's a rupture in the system, a haunting, hybrid figure that demands to be reckoned with.